Hey guys, welcome back to Football Ninja Podcast, a podcast where we talk about exactly football. I'm your host Amit. Joining me is Karthik. Hey Karthik, what's happening?
Hey Amit, let's talk about last week's games.
Yes, let's start with Everton versus Man United. I think a great start to Everton. They took a lead and then Man United came back. Especially they do this when Solskjaer needs that. A lot of talk was happening around him that this would be his last game if he is not, and it was an away game also.
Yeah.
Your take on it?
Like you said, it was a do or die for
Yeah.
Solskjaer. Probably, I mean, we don't know yet, right? But then, for sure, that would have been, like a lot of people say, the nail in the coffin,
Oh,
probably,
yeah.
But Everton as well was sort of out of form. They had lost, 2 games prior to that. So, yeah, to be honest, I've seen that fight from United, that comeback after a very long time.
Mhm,
Or,
mhm.
I shouldn't say very long time, maybe
Yeah,
after a couple of years.
especially when Ole needs it, they
Yeah.
do provide that
Yeah.
extra effort, and you can see on the pitch.
Yeah.
And somehow it also talks about the character of the team where they came back after 1-0 down and uh, winning by 3-1. Especially Cavani's goal was amazing at the end, and very unselfish by Bruno by not going for his hat trick. Scoring those two goals for Bruno again, I think pretty good.
Nice header though.
Yeah, I think he showed his entire class, a good header, good shot, and then there was kind of assist that Rashford missed.
I think it was good that he missed.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise,
And that I think that miss by Rashford was the one which deceived Pickford there,
yeah.
and then he missed the goal. How do you see Man United going forward? I think they're playing West Brom next week after the international break.
Not an easy team, to be honest. We saw Tottenham struggle against them until the main man Harry Kane came back.
Mhm.
Then coming back to United, my only question would be, why don't we see this every week?
Correct.
There's no, like we've always spoken about this. And I think everybody knows that. It's a problem of consistency right now that they don't
True.
have. So it could, if you ask me how do I rate, I think it should be an easy one for United. But if you see, West Brom last game they were playing without Ivanovic, they were playing without Yangana, uh, and still managed to hold Tottenham for a very very long time,
Yeah.
almost 88 minutes, right? So it all depends on what kind of United turn up. If what we saw against Everton is the same team that turns up, definitely they're getting a win. But it's if something that we saw against Arsenal, if
Oh yeah.
that's the team that comes up, it can go either way.
And talking about Everton, Karthik, Everton losing, I think, the third game right now on a trot. Now, the next game is against Fulham. Do you think that'll be an easy game for them, or that they require that kind of game to, figure their team out again and go back to one? Because they've slipped out quite down now.
They have, but I think also we have to keep in mind that Fulham also needs that win, so they will be determined, to get a win. Um, it's not going to be probably pretty easy for them, but I think it should be. I think they should get a win.
And Fulham, especially, I think they lost to West Ham 1-0.
Yeah.
Let's see how well or if they turn up or not against an Everton side, which would be, I think, little more determined right now. The kind of players that they have and Ancelotti being there, I think quite pissed right now, losing 3 games on a trot. Moving to the next game, Karthik, your game, Chelsea versus Sheffield United. I think there were little like butterflies when it comes to Chelsea Sheffield United.
Like I spoke about in the last game, it's always scary against Sheffield United because we saw last season what they are capable of, especially against Chelsea, what they did. And they scored the first goal, and I was like, here we go again. But it was a good comeback. I think they were pretty comfortable after that. After Tammy Abraham scored the first goal,
Yep.
a great goal. Good to have Thiago Silva on the score sheet.
Yeah.
Nice header.
I think third or fourth oldest Chelsea player to score a goal.
Yeah,
Um,
Chilwell again getting on the score
Yeah.
sheet. So it was pretty easy. A lot of goals actually. I think they have scored some 16 goals, 16 odd goals,
Yeah.
and just conceding one in the last 6 games, I think. But yeah, it's finally good to see, especially Ziyech. Has been playing really, really well. You can see his class. Still waiting. That wait has begun again for Pulisic. I think he's fit because he's been selected for the national team. He's gonna be there. So the injury wasn't that bad. But I think if he comes in on the left wing, Ziyech on the right wing, I think it's gonna be.
I think let's
Crazy.
talk a little more about Ziyech here. I think he has created 6 chances and 2 assists in Premier League this season.
And
For Chelsea.
I think he's only played 4 games.
Yeah.
Had 4 games. So
How pivotal do you think he is for Chelsea to at least fight for the top position this season?
I think he's probably the most important signing of the season. I would say, because last season it wasn't like that we were not getting goals. We had enough goals on the score sheet, but there were teams that we were struggling with, to break down, especially. And I think that is where he comes in. That to provide that width or to provide that space in the final third. That is where I think Chelsea lacked the most last season, and that is where they lost a lot of games or drew a lot of games. So I think he's filling that position, and like I said, probably the most important signing of the window. Ziyech. And he's shown his class. He struggled a bit in the beginning.
But that is expected from a player coming from a different league.
Yeah, any team, going to any team, he is expected to, sort of struggle. But then, now we can see the kind of crosses or the kind of balls that he's providing.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to see.
But do you think this is the best of Ziyech or it's yet to come?
Oh, I think he can. I think he can still improve because I have followed him a lot when he was in Ajax, and he's just it's like they say, he's a magician, which he truly is. So I think there's a lot to come from him. But let's see how. And I think on the back of that, I think even Timo Werner for some reason, sort of, I think he's not at his best yet. Of course, he's not. He's still got 8 goals, 3 assists. So did they see this?
Until you see the stats.
In all competitions, which is good. So I think all the new signings are doing well. Kai Havertz, unfortunately, is tested positive for COVID, but he's also got a couple of assists and goals on the score, on the board. Chilwell be playing really well.
I think Chilwell has also matched his. I think 2 goals at home. He had 2 goals and 2 assists for Chelsea till now, and he has probably matched his entire career in in Leicester. So I think all the new signings are doing really well. Yeah. And going back to the tactics of Chelsea now, what I was reading is I think they've given more chances to players under 21 age till now in the entire league. Do you think that's a significant difference in what Chelsea used to play before?
Definitely, because we never saw a lot of people coming from the academy. It was, and I think Frank coming in, that changed a lot of things. Also, you have to keep in mind there was a transfer ban, otherwise they would have spent. But then I think that was a change that was required because we've seen so many good players come out. Abraham, Mount, Reece James, Tomori, Billy Gilmore, a lot of people coming out of the academy. So I think that's a good sign, and like you said, most minutes till now.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a welcome change, I guess.
Chelsea now plays Newcastle in the next game. What do you think? How will that game turn out to be for them?
Unpredictable. Because you never know Newcastle again. You never know how they're gonna turn up.
I think at the end of the day,
it's an easy win or a bad loss.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, Callum Wilson will come, win a penalty, score a penalty, and just go.
That's the thing. So that's why I think that if Chelsea wants to win the game, they have to take an early lead and probably a 2-0 or a 3-0 lead early on, so that they can, if they get a penalty, they can still manage. But yeah, I mean, like I said, pretty unpredictable. You don't know how they're gonna turn up.
By the way, talking about penalties, let's talk about Leicester versus Wolves. Now Leicester, I think, getting almost 8 penalties in 8 games. And I think Wardy scoring 5 of them, that is more than any other team in Premier League currently. And I think in this game he missed one too, right?
Yeah. He scored one, missed one.
But regardless, now they are at number one position. I think they've gained most points ever till now in playing the first 8 games. I think they're at 18 points right now.
I think just not Leicester. I think even Aston Villa, and we'll come to that game especially. But but Leicester probably the first time they are in first position after 2016. And you see again Brandon Rodgers. I think he's doing a great job at Leicester. Very attacking team. It was easy to fill. They lost a player in Chilwell, but it was easy to fill. Justin James filling that position really well. The defense has been well. Schmeichel, that save from Schmeichel, that shot from Neves. It's
usually that shot is unstoppable if you just go back and see all Neves shots. But the kind of, I think he just knew he's gonna hit. He's gonna go for it. Schmeichel just knew that.
And as soon as he hit, I was like, "That's a goal." And then Schmeichel just flew his left hand. That was
he
amazing.
anticipated that goal. That shot really well though.
Yeah.
And I think Leicester's real test would be the next game versus Liverpool. What do you think will happen in that game?
If Liverpool did not have any injuries, I would say it would have been a not an easy win, but probably a win for Liverpool. But now I doubt, because they are again sort of struggling at the back. Van Dijk missing, Gomez giving away that penalty. Or that was a handball which he probably could have avoided, or not sure. Or even the goal from Jesus, which could have been probably avoided if Van Dijk was there. But
do you think it will be a good contest between Leicester and Liverpool?
Oh, definitely, because again, good attacking sides. I think right now without Van Dijk, they are very similar teams, good attacking sides. But I think end of the day, Liverpool has just too much quality in attack. So there's Mane, Salah, and Jota now. So they're like they're running that. So I think I'm gonna go with Liverpool, probably a 3-2 win.
Okay. I think it will be a high-scoring goal, a high-scoring game, as you said. But then I still won't. I'm still not comfortable, thinking Liverpool would win this game, because I think the problem is the player that they're missing is a really quality player, and you see, especially in the last game, and we are gonna move to that game now. Man City versus Liverpool, where 1-1. It could have been 2-1. Man City easily. KDB missing that amazing penalty.
I probably just want to forget that, because he's probably right now one of my favorite players to watch.
And that's probably like from past 2 years. That's the only mistake you have seen. If you try to figure out Sterling missing that that easy chance, I would say. But then that's Sterling. That's Sterling.
And Alisson. So that was a good save from Alisson. But I did not expect. I think if it was a penalty and Kevin De Bruyne is
that's what.
You know that it's gonna be a goal, or at least even if it is not a goal, at least on target. I did not expect him to, especially with his assists. He's bang on target with his assists. So I was like, okay, he's gonna score, or at least it'll be a shot on target, even if it's not a goal. You wouldn't expect him to just. But it happens, don't But anyway, unfortunate. Good for everybody else that they drew.
Especially Leicester. Especially Leicester too.
Good for everybody else. So, but yeah.
And missing that penalty, there were quite good chances with both the teams, but I think Jesus scoring that goal was just brilliant.
Oh yeah, that back.
Yep, that was just brilliant. Do you think? Quick question though. Do you think if Van Dijk was in that position, do you think he would have saved it? That's a difficult question followed by a very easy question.
I think it would have still been a 50-50, because that was a really nice flick. I think the flick couldn't have been avoided, but maybe he could have defended the ball. I would say Van Dijk, if he was there, he probably would have just hit the ball outside.
Probably what I was thinking, that he would have gone for the ball and not for the player in terms of defending it. He would have definitely gone for the player. And the second question, that was easier one, that do you think Van Dijk would have given that penalty?
it's a fair. I wouldn't say it was. It's just your position. I don't know what he was doing, jumping in a very.
And I think in
in a very
today's
comical way.
today's era, where especially everything is under scrutiny, if it is a handball, regardlessly how far your hand is, and when you see Van Dijk playing, you always see his hand behind his back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that is something that comes in training, which probably I don't think so. If Gomez did that, or I don't know, at that point of view time, he never thought he would give that kind of cross. But it was unfortunate. But then. It worked well, right? Nobody scored a goal, so.
Yeah,
So-
but I mean, you still have to question his position of his hand.
True, true.
But then, yeah.
And Man City is playing Spurs next. A big problem for Spurs. I think that they won 1-0 against West Brom. I think that was again thanks to Kane. A big thanks to Kane there. Do you think they are too reliant on Kane? I think this question has come up a lot, but now you think there are a lot many players who are there. There is Son, there is Bale. But do you think they're still reliant on?
I think they are. We saw last season when Kane was injured for a good time, where they were sort of struggling. Although Son did step up, but then there was still a struggle period that was there. And I think that's still gonna be there if they were to miss Kane. He's just if you see this season, he's just not been a goal scorer. He's been more of a provider.
Yep.
They have been pretty reliant, and if they were to miss him, I think it's gonna be a big loss for them. And he comes up with the goods every time. If you think about Tottenham, he's probably the first player that's gonna come to your mind more than anybody
But
else.
I think regardlessly how reliant they are number 2 position right now, just below Leicester. Do you think do you think this story would continue, or this would have a second season ending, like how you look at it?
I mean, I still think I don't think they're gonna. I mean, see, if it's Mourinho, I don't know, because what he's gonna do, you have no fucking idea. But if it's Mourinho, they can probably go ahead and win the league. We don't know. But that also depends on other teams. They started well, yes, but there are so many games this time, and there's no break as such.
Yeah.
So we still have to, and there have been already a lot of injuries. Liverpool is struggling with it right now.
Yeah,
There are a
that
lot of
statement
first-team players.
from Klopp has come where he's backing up Ole, where talking about there should be at least 5.
Yeah. So they are struggling there. So we don't know what injuries can come by. So
Didn't they lose Alexander-Arnold in this injury in this game?
they did, yeah. So
And then-
he's also out, I think, for the next game. I think he's out for 2 months, if I'm not wrong.
All this thing would definitely affect Liverpool against Leicester, as we discussed,
Exactly.
and key players missing from Liverpool side, key players missing from Liverpool side. Moving to Spurs again, what do you think about Bale now? Do you think obviously he won't be able to perform the kind of performance that he gave when he was there, but do you think our Spurs fan hoping too much from him, or too much expectation from him?
You would always have that when a player returns right after a long time, and it was probably 7 years back that he went to Real Madrid. He's 30 now. He's in his 30s now, so obviously he doesn't have the same pace. He doesn't have the same that agility, I would say. And you also have to consider he hasn't played regularly for the last 2 seasons probably.
And on the flip side, PL being the most physically demanding league in the world right
and
now.
we saw his struggles right when he started, or when he came on as a substitute. Yes, he scored a goal. He scored the winning goal. But we saw how he was sort of struggling, and he is not the same player, obviously. But we still might see his best. He's still getting back to his fitness. He still cannot play the full 90 minutes yet. So he's getting there. We'll probably see much better of Bale. Going forward, we hope to see that. But yeah, as of now, I don't think I think he's nowhere near his best right now.
And I think the kind of team that Jose Mourinho is building in Spurs is kind of, if you see from how he's picking players around that team, looks like a Jose Mourinho side, and this is what he does, right? He makes sure the team wins, even if it is 1-0. He'll make sure that his team wins, and gains that 3 points. Do you think in future, I just want to know, like in coming, because now players are prone to a lot of injuries. If Kane gets injured, where do you see this per side? Then who would replace him then?
Uh, you could probably see Son probably playing the number 9 role. Or he would probably have nobody on that role. He could probably have like a false number 9.
Dali Ali?
Yeah, definitely not. He could probably play with a false number 9. Son playing the false number 9 sort of a role. But if you ask me who can play as a striker, that's a difficult question right now, because probably the new signing Vinicius is also sort of a more of an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
But not what Harry Kane can give Tottenham.
I think Harry Kane also has now most shots in Premier League. I think he took over Salah, but in that stats at least. And let's see how this would be a good test, like how Leicester Liverpool is, and this would be the same kind of test where Man City Spurs would be. If Spurs win this game against City, that would be a defining moment for them as well in this Premier League.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's good to get points early on
especially against a big side,
especially against one of the big sides. So that if they do that, I think that would be a good win. Definitely.
And obviously we have kept the best for last. We were discussing about this game, and we were hoping Arsenal will not win or lose. Both means the same. Arsenal losing to Aston Villa, Karthik, 3-0, and the first goal got disallowed. Unfortunate for Aston Villa, but then the kind of goals that they scored off.
Yeah, I think it was unfortunate. I mean, even if Barkley wouldn't have been on the way, that shot from McGinn was unstoppable.
Exactly what the commentator said.
Exactly. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but yeah, definitely it was an offside because he was in the goalkeeper's vision. But then what a performance from him. Yeah. That if you see all the goals, they were and the kind of passes that they are doing, especially Barkley and Jack Grealish in that midfield. They have really good chemistry. They have been playing really well. I think they are running that midfield against any team. So,
especially after when it became 2-0, it felt like City's playing against Arsenal. Right?
Yeah,
they were so on a defensive mode. Arsenal to the next level. Let's talk about positives first for Arsenal, and then we'll come to Arsenal. I think Watkins scoring his 6th goal in 7th Premier League appearance. He scored 2 in the night. It was just amazing. The entire gameplay, not just Watkins there. Barkley giving that amazing pass, and then the own goal I'm talking about. The Barkley giving that amazing pass, and then it turned out to be an own goal. But that was again created by Barkley again.
Yeah.
And then Watkins scoring those 2 again goals. It was such brilliant chemistry. I just don't know what happened to them. As we discussed last time, just what happened to them. And Jack Grealish is on this in the next level here. He has, I think, created 8 chances in Premier League for Aston Villa this season.
I think it's just what we're seeing right now is Aston Villa on steroids probably from last season, because they're a totally different team. They are not. If you tell me they're the same team, I'm not going to believe you, because we see good defense. That midfield is amazing. The kind of passes, the kind of 1-2 or the through balls that they. It's just so good to see.
And moving to Arsenal, Karthik, worrying signs for them. I think they have only scored 9 goals in 8 games. What do you think about them this time?
I think the problem is Lacazette.
Oh yeah.
Just to accommodate him, I think Aubameyang doesn't play in his usual role, which is a centre forward role. He's just scored 2 goals this season. And that too, 1 from open play. 1 was a penalty. So I don't know. I still see that I think that Arsenal defense is still not the best right now. That that combination that they are probably still not the best. They still have to figure out or they probably have to get somebody or some defender of a very high caliber who can control that backline, because right now it still feels like they are lacking that that leadership in that defense. Even the goalkeeper, I think Leno is probably not that leadership role that he can take up, but they need somebody with more experience. They need somebody who can act as a leader, who can run that defensive.
But do you think if somebody else was there in place of Holding, they would have scored that goal? No?
Oh, that goal.
Yeah, that was a
See,
miss.
probably. I mean, it wasn't a bad shot.
Yeah.
It was a miss, but now we see a lot of defenders scoring
Scoring,
goals.
yeah.
And
Especially good defenders,
Yeah,
yeah.
especially good defenders scoring such goals
Mhm.
or scoring better goals. So yeah, I mean that was a missed chance definitely. But yeah, I mean you cannot. When your forward players are not scoring, you cannot blame the defender for not getting goals on it.
Yeah, true. But do you think now what happens to Lacazette? So do you think Arteta would change his position, or do you think he still remains in that position?
I probably think right now they should have Aubameyang playing. You see, either they can do two things, right? Either they can have Lacazette play more like a number 10 role sort of thing, and Aubameyang playing the centre forward role. But that doesn't go with the formation that they play. The only possible replacement for him would be Maitland-Niles playing on the left wing, and then and then Aubameyang coming up front. Probably that's one.
I think also if they want to do that, they would want somebody like an Ozil to be that provider.
Of course. I mean, like, especially after Thomas Partey came in, I think if Ozil would have been in that team, because the thing with Ozil is he's not fast, right? He's slow, right? So they need somebody in that defensive role, which Thomas Partey is already fulfilling and really well. Probably one of the best signings. And if you have somebody like Ozil, who can create that space, I don't think Ceballos has that capability right now. He's not a bad player, but
it's just too early for him.
It's just too early. I mean, I wouldn't say early. He's played one season with Arsenal. This is his second season, right? But he's just not at that, or he doesn't have that awareness that.
That's what. So I don't see him groomed that well to kind of as Ozil would have been to give those kind of passes or create those kind of chances.
Yeah.
And when you see what Aston Villa is doing right now, I think Aston Villa has become the third side after City and Chelsea to win each of their away games without conceding a single goal. And this is the same Aston Villa which is about to get relegated last time.
Exactly.
And also the same Aston Villa where we predicted that they'll get relegated this season too.
I mean, if you're talking about Aston Villa, I mean, also the same Sheffield United, which were 7th, 8th, and now they haven't won a single game.
They have 1 point.
They haven't won a single game this season.
They have just 1 point in the 8 game. That's the lowest they've ever been. But coming back to this game, Aston Villa plays Brighton next. That would be a challenge. Brighton is that tenacious side, which would go for goals regardless. That would be an interesting game to see.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but like I think we spoke about this last time. Brighton has been unlucky. They have played really well, but they have just struggled to win the game. So they have been unlucky in a lot of occasions. But I think it would be an interesting matchup against Arsenal. They have been playing well. But I think the form Aston Villa are in. I think Brighton it's difficult for Brighton to win that game.
And coming back to Arsenal, Karthik, I think the problem with Arsenal in that terms is also where, especially when they won against United, I think there was a lot of hope in players, in fans in terms, where they thought that yes, that Arsenal is back, but then unfortunately that goal came via a penalty.
Arsenal was back this game.
Yeah,
against Aston Villa.
Yeah, so when you see performance like this, and there's obviously a lot of disheartened fans. But then they play against Leeds next time. They have a good defense, a crazy attack, which I think kind of is miss with Arsenal. Where do you think they'll stand in this game?
The way Arsenal have played has been very. You never know what's gonna happen because they have been again very unpredictable. You play so well against a team like United.
I won't say play well. Excuse me.
I mean, they did have a good defense.
They clinched 3 points. I agree, but I don't think it was a good game from us.
But they were a better side,
to
be honest, right? So they defended well, which they struggled against Aston Villa, and I think they're gonna struggle against Leeds as well because you know,
Leeds is also the same unpredictable side.
exactly. You know,
Bamford coming in, probably scoring 2 goals. That might just happen. You never
yeah.
know
So
with
he's
Leeds.
been in red hot form. So difficult game, but I think Arsenal. I'm going to go with Arsenal winning it 2-1.
That's the problem. That's exactly
When I say they're
very
going to win,
very.
they're going to lose.
that's exactly the problem. As in, see, the problem with Arsenal here, which I'm seeing, is they're not scoring goals and they're bad at defense, and that is something as stats you can just pick up and figure it out. But anyways, moving to a question that I really want to ask you. Currently, the standing is Leicester at 1, Spurs at 2, Liverpool at 3, and Southampton at 4. So, which side do you think would end of the season be in top 4 in these 4 teams? At least one.
Liverpool
Pick one
for
side.
sure.
Are you serious?
Is that a very obvious choice?
But no. But then Liverpool. The problem with Liverpool right now is they are. The obvious injury out. There are two good
The
players.
problem with the problem with other teams is the consistency. Right now they're playing well. Liverpool is a side that I've seen very consistent. Even if there have been injuries, yes, they drew a match, but they have been playing well. They beat Atlanta 5-0 in the Champions League last time around, right? So without Van Dijk, so there have been a good consistency, in terms of that team. So I know for sure they're gonna finish in the top 4. I think, and Leicester as well. I think they might. These are the two teams that I'll back. Still too early to
Spurs and
predict.
Southampton.
Southampton, Spurs, yes, Spurs as well. They might, but Southampton, it's still too early for us to predict that they're gonna finish in the top 4. You never know; they might go ahead and win the league.
We always have that jinx effect.
Yeah.
The second we discredit a team, they go ahead and win their remaining games. That always happens. Especially happened with Aston Villa this time. Having said that, we are wrapping up this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. See you next week, guys. Bye.
Cheers.